Okay, what is up there, YouTube? This is J-Man Time, and today I have a video on the current state of the Austrian Navy, or a video on the Austrian Navy when it comes to European navies, and especially navies that are associated with the NATO organization. One such navy is largely forgotten, and that is the modern Austrian Navy. Now, the modern Austrian Navy is a riverine navy, or river patrol navy, compared to what it used to be during the days of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Austria went from having the third or fourth largest navy in Europe during the imperial era of the late 19th through early 20th century, and now having a navy that is actually smaller than the modern day Serbian navy. Now, Austria has about 22 combat vessels in their river flotilla navy on both the Danube and the Rhine River, which flows through Austria. The largest vessels are two Cold War vintage vessels that were built in the 1950s and 1970s, while the most modern vessels are actually copies of a Finnish vessel that was developed in the 2000s. So let's go over all of the current classes of warships to serve in the Austrian Navy. Now keep in mind, the Austrian Navy was technically disbanded in the year of 2006 due to financial reasons. Now, before the great 2008 economic crash or recession, Austria was already suffering financial issues even before that time period, and as a result, in 2006, the Austrian Navy was basically defunded. Although the Navy still exists in some form, there is no official Austrian Navy, but there is a naval detachment within the Austrian army, which is basically what the Austrian Navy has been scaled down to as of the last 20 years or so. So most of the larger vessels in the Austrian Navy are not actually in service, as in they are currently serving on the front line, but they are in service on paper and are kept in a state of readiness in case of all-out war with any of their neighboring countries or a foreign invader. But there are at least 20 patrol boats that are used by the Austrian army, and these are basically considered Austrian Navy vessels as they are manned by soldiers and sailors that were trained by former Austrian Navy commanders, admirals, and other military figures from the now defunct Austrian Navy that was pretty much axed back in 2006. So let's go over some of the warships in the Austrian Navy, and we're going to start from the largest and going all the way down to the smallest. The largest vessel to serve in the Austrian Navy is the Austrian patrol boat Niederösterreich. Niederösterreich is a Austrian-built warship that was constructed in the year of 1970, and she was launched in March of 1970. Her official name is the A604 Niederösterreich. She has a displacement of 73 tons and is powered by two MWM V16 diesel engines, with each engine having a maximum horsepower of 1,620 horsepower. Her maximum speed is 22 knots, and she has a maximum range of 900 nautical miles. She is powered by conventional diesel fuel, but can also use diesel oil. Her main armament is one 20mm Oerlikon SPZ Mark 66 dual-purpose anti-ship and anti-aircraft autocannon, and she also has a secondary armament of one 12.7mm M2 Browning heavy machine gun and two 7.62mm light machine guns. She is also fitted with one 84mm Carl Gustav, also known as the Para 66 recoilless gun, or recoilless rifle, and she also has on board 9 Sturmgewehr 77s, also known as the Steyr AUG assault rifles, plus 8 80mm smoke grenade launchers. Her maximum crew capacity is 9, and she was technically decommissioned in the year of 2006. Now again, she is still listed as in service, although the Austrian Navy doesn't really exist in the form that it did before 2006. So she does not have a standard crew. She has what is known as a skeleton crew as of now. Just a few men who keep the ship in pristine condition in case she is needed for frontline combat. But there is no official Navy crew manning her, just some maintenance staff workers that keep the ship up and ready for combat. The second largest ship to serve in the Austrian Navy is the A601, also known as the Oberstbreck. The Oberstbreck was constructed in the year of 1958, in January of 1958, at the Kahneberg Werft construction factory located in Austria. She is technically the oldest official vessel to serve in any form in the Austrian Navy, as she was built in the 1950s. Her displacement is just 10 tons, and she is powered by two Graf and Stiff diesel engines, each engine having a maximum horsepower of 145 horsepower, bringing her to a maximum of 290 horsepower. Her maximum speed is 14 knots, and she has a maximum range of 160 nautical miles. Her main armament is one 12.7mm M2 Browning heavy machine gun, one 84mm Carl Gustav anti-tank recoilless rifle, 5 Sturmgewehr 77 Steyr AUG assault rifles, and two 80mm grenade launchers for launching smoke grenades. She is currently in the semi-service, just like the Niederösterreich, and she also has a small maintenance crew that keeps her up and ready, that keeps her in a state of readiness in case of all-out war. But just like the Niederösterreich, she is not actually in service, fully in service, like your traditional naval vessels in any other navy, for any other navy in any other nation. So these two are the two largest vessels in the current Austrian Navy, although the Navy technically doesn't exist, but does exist at the same time, which is kind of strange. And then you have the most numerous class of vessels to serve in the Austrian Navy, or at least the Austrian Army Naval Detachment, and that is the Watercat M9 series of fast attack/patrol vessel that is used by the Austrian Marines and other divisions within the Austrian military. Now, these are patrol boats that were actually based on the Finnish M8 watercraft that is also used by the Finnish Navy, the German Navy, and the Swedish navies. These vessels have a displacement of just 2.5 tons. Their main armament is one 7.62mm machine gun or one 50 caliber machine gun, and these are optional as the vessels do not come with these weapon systems. They can carry a crew capacity of between 10 passengers, and they have a crew of at least 2 to 4 plus 10 passengers or soldiers and sailors in this case. Currently, Austria has 20 of the Watercat M9 in service with their Austrian Army Naval Detachment or River Detachment. These vessels have a maximum speed of 30 knots, making them the fastest vessel in the Austrian Navy. Austria also has at least 80 small transport boats or transport vessels. These are very small vessels of the ALU-PI boat class of vessels, or the Elbert class of small transport boats. These are unarmed transport boats that were built in Austria. Some of these are very new, having only been completed in the last 5 years, but these small vessels also serve as light troop transports or small troop transport warships within the Austrian military. And that's basically it. The Austrian Navy is a very, very small navy when compared to what Austria used to have during the days of the Habsburg Empire, which ended in 1918, and even during the early days of Austria as an independent republic starting in the year of 1919-1920. Back in those days, the Austrian Navy mostly consisted of old ironclad warships that were inherited from the Austro-Hungarian Navy, but all those were later captured by the Germans during the Anschluss, or the unification of Germany and Austria, in 1938, and were either sunk or captured by the Allied powers in the Second World War. As a result of all of this, along with the Cold War and the current financial issues that plague Austria and many other countries in Europe today, the Austrian Navy has been reduced to a small river platoon and technically doesn't really even exist today, only on paper, and it's mostly just an extension of the Austrian Army rather than the old Austrian Navy that it once was back in the olden days. So what do you all think of this? The modern Austrian Navy? Please tell me in the comment section below, and until next time, this was J-Man Time signing off.